In this video, we are going to be talking about the chart pattern called the Bullish Pennant. Stay tuned. Hey traders, a very warm welcome to. Hope your trading is going great out there. Right, talking about this chart pattern, which is the Bullish Pennant. All right, not to be confused with the wedge and not to be confused with the flag. Some similarities between the two, however, there's some differences. Let's talk about how we trade this pattern. Let's talk about the characteristics of it, where we can spot it and what it's good for. All right, so as I like to start these videos, this is good for pretty much all time frames. It actually works, unlike some of the chart patterns, this actually works very nicely on a lower time frame. So if you're day trading or scalping, 1 minute chart, whatever, you're really getting aggressive with it, this is the puppy to be using, guys, when the right characteristics are here, and I'll show you those in a second. This, along with flags, one of my very favorite day trading patterns in the right scenario, and we'll cover that in a moment. So stay tuned to the end of the video for that one. Right, so let's look at the characteristics. So the idea of a pennant is that it is this triangle shape to a point. You know, unlike a flag, which is more a rectangle, unlike a wedge, which is broader and much more price excursion, a pennant is tight, it's high, that's the characteristics of it. It's coming to a point. Now, the textbook's telling us that, hey, what we should be doing is, as this is converging here, we buy a breakout to the upside. And you know what? Thumbs up for that. That gets a thumbs up from me. I agree with the textbooks on that one. However, let's just add some sort of caveats into that and let's just put it into perspective a little bit. This pattern, what is it all about? How is it working? And by the way, that is a sloping up. That's not flat. I know it's almost maybe looks flat on your video, but that's the pattern there. And you can imagine there's a bit of noise. There's going to be a noise in price here, but I've smoothed it off just for this example on the board, as you can understand. So what do we have here? So we have this convergence of price, lower highs, higher lows, eventually culminating in this kind of congestion here where it just has to go one way or another. So supply demand, let's look at supply demand. I always like to look at supply demand, not just price on the chart, thinking about the people behind the pattern, the traders behind the move. All right, bullish, moving to the upside, bullish pennant would dictate that we have had an uptrend, whether that is the first 15 minutes of the day, whether that is the first month, whether that is a year, whatever. Let's just assume now, whatever time frame we're on, we've got a nice bullish uptrend. Okay, we've reached a new high. There's our high, point number one. And we've pulled back. Pretty classical stuff, okay? We'll first pull back maybe on a bull trend. Now, we get at a little point where it doesn't break a high. So this is a point where buyers aren't that aggressive anymore. For whatever reason, they haven't broken the high, or sellers have become more aggressive earlier. Either one or the other, we don't know which is which, but whatever happens, the supply demand and balance it shifts and we get a lot more supply coming in than we do demand. And then exactly the same happens at the low. So it gets the low, don't break to a new low. So sellers aren't aggressive enough to keep pushing. They don't perceive it as great value that they want to keep driving it lower. They back off. Buyers perceive it as good value. So they step up above the high. And we get this stalemate situation where, you know, lower highs, higher lows. And we get to a point where volume will be drying off. Everyone will be waiting, what's going on, how's it going to happen? Now, if those of you familiar with the triangle pattern will know that this is very similar, but the difference with this is that it's very tight and high based on the drive up here. This is the precursor for the pennant. You know, that on its own, if you had a big, broad, kind of multi-day move, probably, but this is really what makes the pennant is this initial drive, just getting that clear. So there's a pause. You know, nobody knows what's going to happen. No one's stepping up. Everyone's just literally waiting. You can almost feel the tension on some of these pennants when you're watching intraday. Maybe that's just me, but you can almost see that everyone's just like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? They're all waiting. You know, they've got some inventory on, or they've got some inventory to get rid of, whatever it may be. But there's a pause. There's a wait. Who's going to blink first? Who's going to blink first? You know, they're waiting, and then, generally speaking, because of the nature of it and because of the wind behind it, it's buyers who step up to the plate. Buyers go, you know what? I don't think I'm going to get anything better than this, because that's of course what is going through your mind as a buyer. If you've got some inventory to buy, you've got some stock to buy, whatever it may be, you want to get as much, you want to cover that position, or you want to get that position, but you want to pay as least amount as possible for it. That's what we want to do as buyers, right? You want to buy a nice house, you don't want to pay full price for it. You want to buy a nice car, you want to get a discount on it. You want to buy some stock, you want to get as cheap as possible. That's what we want to do as a buyer. So comes to this point here, and then eventually they just can't wait anymore. They have to just buy it. So we get this kind of burst up to the upside. Volume increases aggressively from being low, and then it's a breakout trade. So the theory being, the textbook's telling us, hey, you know what? As it breaks the upside of the pennant, buy. And I agree with that. I think that's a pretty good strategy to do, depending on the strength of this, depending on how deep this is as well. I don't think that's a bad thing to do. You can put your stop underneath the kind of trend line of the pennant, and look for a break of the high from the first number one zone. Maybe if you're nervous about it going any further, you could perhaps scale a bit off into that, or hold it for a multi-day move if that's your strategy. We're not talking about not talking here about what your exit strategy is. That becomes your own personal trading plan. But the idea being is this is a little bit of a pause, and there's going to be a resumption of the uptrend. What you decide to do with it after that is entirely up to you. One thing I'd just like to add to this, guys, while I've got a little bit of time, is if we can imagine this pennant here, if we add a little test to the downside first, then I'm doubly excited, because we've not only have we done that and then broken, so we've broken it, so we have test first, well, then we break. I'm doubly excited by that, because I like to see the fact that we've advertised at lower prices and sellers haven't perceived it as value. Buyers are the ones that have said, yep, I definitely want that. I want it now, 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 I want it now. And they bought it all the way up through, and sellers just gone, whoa, backing right off the throttle. The momentum is obviously shifted in one direction, and I'm all aboard that. And another reason why I'm all on board that generally is that I can quantify my risk. I can put my stop at the level underneath that guy, underneath that low where it kind of tested for any more supply coming in. Didn't get it, was the pivot point of that. It allows me a little bit more room to breathe. Whereas the only danger you've got, actually, guys, is that if you're taking a break out of this point here, yeah, you can put your stop under that trend line, but you might get a bit of noise before it finally goes. A good clean one will go straight away, which is why I quite like it on an intraday chart, like a 1 minute, 5 minute, or whatever, because you know straight away it goes. It's explosive. You get 2 or 3 candles in your direction. You can scale it out. You can take your profits multiple times your risk. Good trade, good high risk reward. Nice little setup. Anyway, guys, that's a bullish pennant. Keep an eye out for it, and let me know your thoughts on that in the comments section below. Good trading, guys. Take care. If you like this video, give it a like, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do so for more videos from myself and other traders on this channel. Very good trading to you. Take care. See you soon. Bye bye.